DarkViperAU won't stop from React debates to Lolcow by the WillyMacShow. As somebody that does React content that has unfortunately been the target of harassment by DarkViper and the Dark community, I figured this would be very interesting to watch considering it hasn't, been up for super long, and I've heard a lot of good things about WillyMac.
DarkViper, aka Matt, is popular for his GTA content. Some are challenges, some are facts and glitches, some of it is speedrunning. But in the commentary community, he's mostly known for his hatred of React content, where he made a 14-page manifesto detailing why React content is immoral. He does what every political creator does, acting like the only way he can make his point is comparing it to the worst thing possible. In this case, great. Saying if you meet a Reactor at a party, I suggest covering your glass, or outright telling them you don't want them to F you, because they seem keen to take a person's silence as consent.
And honestly, the thing that I really took issue with is this is still his current sentiment. When I did call him out on Twitter, I did tweet at him and got just reinforced that I am somebody that would, in his eyes, commit SA, despite myself being very open, having been abused, been physically assaulted, and having been SA'd. Yeah. Kip's life is a little rough. We're going to put it that way. So when comments like this are made from a place of ignorance, they tend to piss me off a little bit.
With Vosh, he compares CP to owning a computer. With Viper, it's great if you react to a YouTube video. He even clarifies, it's hyperbole, but only slightly so. The difference between actively ignoring consent for financial gain is not so far removed from ignoring consent for sexual gratification. So today we're going to be discussing Viper's Grape, also known as the time someone reacted to his content. Some of it he's right, some of it I disagree with, all of it's over the top.
It's 14 pages!
14 pages!
14 pages! He's using a soundbite of one of the most traumatic, angry moments of my entire life. It's 14 pages! I have never been this mad at a person in the entirety of my life! Was the worst period in the entirety of my life. He has made my life.
Chat, am I this bad? Like, I feel like sometimes, like, I go through a lot in my life, let's put it that way, and I've been through a lot of stuff that I really don't like talking about at a point in case what I talked about earlier, right? I don't like talking about a lot of things that I've been through. Some things it's just better to just not talk about. Not necessarily drink with, but just to not talk about. Am I this bad? Like, sometimes I really feel like I'm a bad creator, and like, I'm not doing enough. I'm trying, but I feel like I'm not this bad, though. This is wild to me, dude.
Life worse, miserably so, that I can't have a day to myself. I don't deserve shit. I will get back to fucking editing!
I want to start off by laying out Matt's take on React content, with the focus being on streamers, complaining that they are taking other people's work that took hours and hours to make, and then flipping it. So now...
Okay, so we're going to interrupt this really quick. I'm going to take my prior bias out of the situation. To give WillyMac a fair thing, absolutely, I will be taking my prior bias of DarkViperAU out of this. I'll be reacting to this in real time, right? And that is not going to cloud my judgment. I will be taking what is being shown, and I will be doing the usual Kip thing, right? Critically think, etc., etc. So I want to just throw that out there. And also, as somebody that has pointed out that there are inconsistencies and there are problems with React content, and that it can be done ethically in a lot of instances, I will be looking at it from that angle as well.
They have a product that's equal in quality, but it took them only the amount of time to react to it on stream, showing a diagram how a React streamer could steal up to 1,500 hours worth of labor in a single hour of streaming. I think Hassan's a prime example of this, using videos to entertain his stream while he leaves to do something else.
Hold on, I gotta pee, I'm sorry.
National correspondent.
Or Denim streaming full episodes of Avatar, while touting on Twitter how streaming is the hardest job she's ever had. But his argument isn't that some reactors are bad, it's that they're all bad. He argues that React streamers are stealing the labor of content creators, and using their own work to outcompete them for finite impressions. Now, objectively, yes.
I do think objectively, yes, I will agree with this. So, and I make note of this in my content. When I react to, say, something by the Russian Badger, when I react to something by the Fat Electrician, when I react to something by, say, Rubik's Raptor or Shoe on Head, or even WillyMac right here, right? I know that it takes a lot of time. It's why I wait a minimum of 4 days. If it's something like a Destiny or a game showcase trailer, right? Everyone's reacting to that day one. It's different than a big company like Destiny, Bungie, I almost said Infinity Ward. Oh my God, I haven't played Call of Duty in a hot minute. Are they still making Call of Duty? I don't actually remember. But you get what I'm saying, right? Like, I give that 4 days. I give 4 days for the original video to get as much traction as it can, and I use mine as kind of a, from what corners of the internet that I hit, a little bump for that. I do think that there is a problem when, say, Internet Historian makes a video, and within 10 minutes of it going live, there's already a reaction up to it. I think that that's wrong, which a historian does do a good job of saying, hey, please, reactions are awesome. They're welcome. Please wait 48 hours. I wish more videos had that. I think that'd be really cool. It is important to note when doing React content, when looking at reactions. Yeah, absolutely. This video, right? 41 minutes and 9 seconds, right? By WillyMac. It's going to take me, I don't know, probably an hour to react to this, right? Adding what commentary that I can. But that doesn't take away that he took the time out of his day, out of his days, his week, month, right? To make this. And that's important to understand. And that's also why, and when I react to somebody, and I open this to WillyMac as well, or somebody that represents WillyMac, if you're not okay with reactions, if you're not okay with my reaction, absolutely, you're more than happy. I'm more than happy to have you shoot me a business email, just say, hey, I'm this, or hey, I'm representative of this, I appreciate what you're doing, can you take it down? Or just to take it down. I open that to every single person. There are issues with React content, and this is a big one. Yes, absolutely. If it takes someone 500 hours to make a video, and it's, say, 40 minutes, but it takes someone 42 minutes to react to something, we have a problem. And I'm going to just say objectively that is a problem.
It's competing for eyeballs just like any piece of content is online, but the only compelling part to me is that it's now potentially competing with the original work. In my personal experience, because that's all we can go off of, when people react to my content, I usually get no jump in viewership. Over the dozens of times my videos have been reacted to, I've only had 2 major boosts. One was from Destiny and the other one was from Charlie. And I think it's because those content creators were somewhat invested in those dramas at the time, so their viewers were more willing to take the time to come comment on the original. Now, how many times have I noticeably lost viewership? Never. There's never been an obvious dip in viewership after somebody's reacted to the video, even when the reaction has many times the views. But other creators have documented this happening. Internet Anarchist showing there was an 87% dip in impressions, as well as a 52% decrease in views on the day of the re-upload. Mad Season.
And that's the thing, is that it can be a substitute. It can be a content substitute. Say if I react to this video, right, and somehow it gets 200,000 views, right? I mean, me personally, I would feel bad. I feel like I would fail as a reactor if the viewership this got just exceeded the original. I would honestly feel really bad. And that's one of those things like, okay, how can I rectify this? How can I, pay the original content creator? Well, what can I do, right? That's just me personally. Not everyone thinks that way. And even then, some people would say, well, if the original video has 250,000 views and I get 3 million views on the reaction, I've done a good job, right? I think that can be subjective to a lot of people, but this is a problem, absolutely, especially if, say, you're waiting for Internet Archivist, right? The guy was just shown, right? Archivist or Anarchist? It's Anarchist, excuse me. Internet Anarchist. Say if people only watch like Asmongold reactions to Internet Anarchist, or like say if a new Maxor video comes out and people only watch the Asmongold reaction to it, what's the incentive for that? It is a business at that point. If you're going to spend, say, 80 hours in a week, 80 hours a week over 4 weeks, right? 80 times 4, 8 times 4, 36, 360 hours making a video, right? That's like 20 minutes long. And somebody comes along and gets just exponentially more views than you, and you don't see it. I understand that. Like, what is the incentive for you to do that? If you're at your job, right, and say you have a manager, and your manager has you do a lot of stuff, right? You're supposed to clean the freezer, you're supposed to clean the floors, you're supposed to service the grill, service the hoods up top, restaurant environment, right? And apply this as necessary to your own job, right? And if you do all the work, but your manager takes all the credit for it, say, oh yeah, I did it, they know how to do it, but I made sure it was my blood, sweat, and tears that made this work. Do you think you'd be a little upset? Think it's a little disingenuous? And that's personally why I'm more of a fan of not only transformative React content, but it's why I open as many avenues of communication as possible, right? I want to have a good working relationship in what capacity I can with people I react to. It's why I will say at the end of this, you need to go check them out. And even then, right now, right? Break the formula. Go ahead and check this person out if you haven't. Honestly, I didn't even know WillyMac was the thing until someone had mentioned it. And so that's super, I think that citing where it's coming from is so huge. And a lot of reactors don't do that. I've looked at a lot of bigger React content channels, and you know what I do that they don't? I actually cite the video. If you want to watch this video, go down to the description right now. Channel name, channel link, video name, video link. You will see everything you need to access that video. A lot of channels don't do that, and I think that's a problem. It's just citing your sources, right? I think that's the bare minimum we can be doing as people that do React content.
% dip in impressions, as well as a 52% decrease in views on the day of the re-upload. Mad Seasons documented something similar.
Then we notice a little spike here on May 12th, because this is when everyone's favorite corporal, decided he wanted to watch some real content, and he reacted to it. So you'll see a bump in viewership here because he's consistent about giving credit and linked the video to his stream after watching it. But even visually here, you'll notice an immediate decline. We have a pretty significant decrease in viewership, presumably due to the fact that from this date, there are now 2 major copies of this video sharing the algorithm.
But he hammers home that React content is actually the worst for people who aren't reacted to at all. He compares it to pollution.
I went into such intricate detail to explain that everyone suffers from React content, but those who are reacted to suffer the least. We could use pollution as an example. You've got the people at the top, the polluters, who make tons of money polluting the planet. Then you have the people who work for them who make some of that money as well. Then you have literally everyone else who's like, could you guys like stop polluting the planet? Like, we don't work for you, but we do suffer because of what you're doing. And the second tier is like, what the f are you complaining, man? I'm getting a great paycheck here. The people at the top like, look, all these fucking people. They don't even work for us. They don't work for us. They're not our responsibility. Every class except the top is ultimately worse off. The people in the second class who get some benefit are less worse off, but everyone else is the worst off.
All React content makes you a bad person, not that it's necessarily illegal.
You are taking that guy's 500 hours of labor in order to take all these impressions and therefore viewers from every other content creator. If you were to...
You know what you do with that? Hey, can you take that down, please? Hey, can you not do that anymore? You also have a copyright tool, do you not? I actually don't know how that works. Actually, I don't think I'm large enough to have access to the copyright tool, but I'd have to go check. Like, I feel a lot of this can be alleviated by literally just communicating, right? So there's videos that I haven't posted that people have requested. I can't post them because there are certain agencies on behalf of another person, right, or entity that are just like, yeah, we own this content. Sure, that's fine. There are people, and I encourage anybody, like, if I'm reacting to WillyMac, reach out to me. Hey, you know, Kip, I see what you're doing. I see that you can regularly double or triple a video, but I don't really feel cool with that. Can you please take it down? Awesome, my dude. Thank you. Would you like me? I mean, I'm more than happy to spread the word that you don't like reactions. I'm more than happy to do that for you. And I think that's completely fair. Once again, the crux of this comes down to a breakdown of communication and people not communicating. This is coming from someone who is neurodivergent. If the neurodivergent person in the room knows that communicating solves the issue, it's a pretty obvious fix then. Like, come on, man. I don't think like other people do. I really don't. Like, it's not a hard fix.
Disappear. Everyone would be better off. However, all original content creators have just as much right to be in this space as anyone else.
We're not saying they don't, my dude. Russian Badger has every right to make a new video. And if he doesn't want reactions, that's fine. The Fat Electrician, who I react a lot to, I think he's really cool, right? Reach out to the dude in an email. Hey, you okay with React content? Yeah, Kip, that's perfectly fine, right? And if he changes his mind down the line, I'm sure he'll let me know, right? Like, and don't get me wrong, it's not always possible to ask for permission, right? The amount of emails that I've sent out and that I just don't get responses to, but that's fine. Yeah, I like the whole last week, I've no-lifed Destiny the Final Shape, right? Got pretty much everything that I could reasonably, including like Microcosm, and I'm one Modal Light off from Gvostov before the season actually launched, right? I get it. Sometimes you need to back away, or sometimes you don't want to deal with comments. I know YouTube pushes negative comments at me, so I can have 10 people saying, Kip, love your content, hope you're having a nice day, but I get the one that tells me, why does he keep pausing? And I don't know why YouTube does that. That's really weird to me, and I'm trying to figure out how to fix that. Like, yes, we're not saying the original content creators don't have a right to exist in the space. And a lot of us are receptive to, hey, for example, CoffeeZilla. I reached out to CoffeeZilla. Dude was super cool. You know what he said to me in an email? I'd have to go dig up the email. It was along the lines of, please just don't use the original video because it counts as a replacement, right? Hey, cool. Thank you. It's not that I can't react to his content. I just have to kind of do a like he's doing, right? Like talk about things, show clips, supporting evidence, talk about thing, right? Or Lucy Pyre, for instance. Lucy Pyre, VTuber. Hey, just make sure it doesn't take up the full screen, right? Yeah, it's why I have a border, why I have a little window in another OBS plugin, right? For if someone doesn't want that, I have it on standby. People are subjective. Some like it, some don't. Terminal Montage, for instance, right? Says that they don't want re-uploads, including React content. That's why I don't react to Terminal Montage. It's not that I don't like them. I love Terminal Montage. I'm respecting their wishes to not react to their content and upload it. And that's something that should just be normalized. That's something that we need to go, yeah, that makes sense, right? It's wild, dude.
Reactors don't.
Chill the fuck out. It's not that serious.
Writing, what is legal is not necessarily good by any standard. Just because slavery was once legal didn't make it good, and certainly, even if this labor exploitation was legal, it wouldn't make it any less exploitative. If you're a React streamer, you're a rapist and a slave owner, apparently. Could we pick more extreme examples? Is this Vosh's younger brother? The reason why he wants to discuss the morality of React content is because we don't know the legality of it. I get it, we don't have a legal precedent set, and everyone's barometer for what they count as fair use is going to be a little bit different, which is why he says, who cares about fair use?
For example, I clarified my position on fair use, which can be summarized as, who the f cares?
Even lawyers aren't positive when it comes to what counts and what doesn't when it comes to fair use. Some say most of it likely counts as fair use. Others say live stream React content might be impossible to be considered fair use.
This is for literally lawyers to discuss. This is why lawyers make the big bucks, because they get to nitpick and choose. Mudahar, Some Order Gamers, actually has a decent video up about what the 4 pillars of copyright and fair use and stuff. And even then, the way that I look at it, if I do a React content video and the original creator says they don't want it, just take it down. Just pull it. Or just deal with it, right? My issue comes when there's like music companies and stuff, or I run into issues like I ran into with Epidemic Sound, even despite me having a license, still getting copyright claimed by them. Yeah, I get a little salty with that. I get a little like, this is broken. This shouldn't be how this works. Or what was it? Nintendo copyright claiming another, or I think it was a strike actually. They copyrighted another Nintendo channel for Breath of the Wild footage, but at that point, technically, it comes down to Nintendo would have to litigate against Nintendo, so it like kind of zero sums itself. It's really interesting. But like, the way I look at it is just don't be a jerk. I'm not entitled to anyone's content. I react to things that I think are cool. And honestly, hearing a lot about this, I think that this person's cool so far, and they have reasonable takes. Is it all sunshine and roses? No, there are problems with React content. It's why I want to work to be better, to try to do better things.
React to anything, and you're adding enough commentary to the fact that it's not a replacement of the original, then then it's fair use.
And for the love of God, if you're going to complain about pausing in a video, just watch the original. I don't understand it. I feel like it's just enabling people. Like Lolcow pauses way too much. What are you expecting? Just watch the original video. That makes the situation worse, because you have people that will willingly go out of their way to watch reactions and expect just a re-upload. That's a problem. Okay? That's bad.
I think.
No, 100%. But if all he did was facial expressions and he did not commentary,
right, exactly.
All he did, that would actually be transformative.
Yes, leaving to take a break will almost certainly violate copyright due to the lack of commentary.
Right.
But arguably, so does just watching it in real time if there's no commentary being made.
Exactly.
And this highlights why it might actually be impossible for any live streamer to have a live stream reaction where they're just simply playing the entire video and reacting.
At the end of the day, the legal argument just isn't that productive to debate, because there is no black and white line for where fair use starts and ends. It's up to courts to figure that out. Now, the online community has largely already come to a—
We are overdue for a copyright overhaul, especially with how copyright on YouTube works. We are well overdue for one of those, but it probably won't happen.
Agreement on what they think is and isn't acceptable when it comes to React content.
Right.
And that's if you're getting up and leaving or adding minimal commentary that might as well not be there.
Exactly. Like, why would you watch that? Why?
Oh, it looks like a cartoon!
Sniper Wolf's reactions are not valued by the community, and she faces backlash for it. What is valued is if a creator is being critical or analyzing a video, significantly adding to the runtime.
How, as a
Hold up.
Being critical or analyzing a video, significant
reaction. Yes, he talks a lot, but includes the entire video. I mean, it's what I do, right? I pause the video. I add commentary. We're already 6 minutes, 29 seconds into the video. We're already, 19 minutes into this specific video? Is it popular? Not really. People don't like me droning on for long periods of time, and I'm cognizant of that, right? Sitting and listening to Kip for an hour plus, it's a really taxing experience. I totally get it. Like, at least he's adding commentary. That's how you do it.
Adding to the runtime.
How, as a React content creator, do you avoid taking the piss?
Well, I think that so long as you're clearly trying, it's fine.
Right.
You don't have to
I
knock
think
it
that's
out of
fair.
the park every time. So long as there's clearly a respect and understanding there that you are working with someone else's content,
Right.
I think you're good.
Viper, on the other hand, thinks they can never add enough. It's all bad all the time.
All reactors do is sit and steal from the original content creators. They siphon exposure via impressions to themselves, keep people on their channels instead of other people's, and they flick a few every once in a while to someone else. Except in the premise that React content shouldn't exist, everything React content takes is taken from these people. Whoever they are, wherever they are. That is just logically true.
When it comes to React content being the worst because it's stealing impressions from completely unrelated creators, I don't care. I value the authentic entertainment of a first-time viewing React video more than the 5,000th Minecraft Let's Play video that's been uploaded this month. Maybe it's just because I'm a drama YouTuber, but I think the internet's at its best when people are easily able to interact and give their opinion without having to worry about copyright. It's called so
Hot damn. Hold up. It's almost like when people can talk to each other and they can interact with each other and work through problems together, that people do better. Hot damn, where have you guys heard that for the 10,000th time?
social media for a reason. Of course, there are some nuanced differences from what creators want reactors to do. Some don't want them to reuse the thumbnails, others want them to wait 4 days before reacting.
What I realized is that if you're a big creator who's going to react to someone's video, you should wait at least 4 days for it to be pushed in the algorithm naturally. And that's what—
Honestly, actman W. Like, yeah, actman W on that. And I wait 4 days on my stuff. At least 4 days. It's not fair if I were to react to, say, an actman video and to upload it the same day, to upload it the second day. I don't, even though I'm not as big as, say, someone like Asmongold, right? I don't think that that's fair. If anything, what I view this as is, hey, a creator did something 4 days later. I'm going to react to this or put out a video on this. Like, you can react to it, I guess, same day, technically, right? But I don't put it up, like, on Twitch, right? Don't have it anywhere. And then on the fourth day, sure, go ahead and upload it, that kind of thing, right? I think it's really disrespectful to do it under 4 days. But there are some creators, once again, like Inner Historian, that say 2 days. But you know what they did? They communicated it. Wow, it's wild, dude.
Asmon and I talked about and agreed on after this happened. In this way, it creates buildup for his audience. They'll ask him to watch the video and they just have to wait patiently. So when he finally does, his audience is going to be excited. It means that my video will do better in turn, and so will his.
And it can boost it again.
The difference in views on these two videos despite them being on the same game.
But as of right now, creators and viewers value the free speech and opinions that come with good reaction content more than they value potentially losing that extra dollar. Actman expressed that sentiment, and Viper started a whole conspiracy because of it.
As someone who takes passion in what I do, I enjoy watching those reactions. They always do really well on his channel, and some might say, but Actman, he's stealing views from you. Those views belong to you. Maybe they do. I can't say for certain, but what I can say is a lot of people who are subscribed to my channel wouldn't be subscribed if Asmongold never made these videos.
I sent him a message. He hasn't responded, but even if he does respond, I'm not going to tell you what he says, because I'm more asking him out of curiosity.
So I sent him a message. Don't actually care about the message, though. Why are you saying it, though? Why? You've just invalidated your entire argument going into this.
I have seen the negative response from viewers when others have called out Asmongold, who previously associated with him in the past. I ask you honestly, do you really see Asmon as better than the others you criticized, or did you worry about how it would reflect on you to speak negatively of him? And they act more to defend reactors than they do anything else. It doesn't matter the formulation that reaction content takes, at least in the sort that I'm talking about. The live stream reaction and then just throwing it up on YouTube.
To most other people, the form it takes matters. That's the consensus. This world where he wants every creator to strike every reaction video, people don't want it. Viewers don't want it. Creators don't want it.
So what's the solution? Ultimately, enough content creators banding together and saying, hey, we do not like reaction content. Cutting off the supply. The viewers will never cut off demand, but creators can cut off a supply. And
the viewers will never cut off demand. Do you know why his argument doesn't work? He literally just said why. Because there is a market for this. Because people want to watch Asmongold. Because people want to watch other reactors react to stuff. Even if it's to a parasocial degree. Parasocialism isn't bad. Lucy Pyre has an entire video about it. It's when it gets like weird and creepy. Like, imagine if I were to like take a VTuber, right? And I was to be like, oh, well, this VTuber is like my girlfriend, stuff like it getting really weird, parasocial, like that's crossing a line, right? And anyone can reasonably see that. Like, oh, hey, the number of comments where it's like, Kip, you know, I really like your voice. So, well, you know, it feels like I'm just sitting on a couch with a buddy just talking about things. You know, and there's been other people that are like, you know, Kip, I like your stuff enough. Do you want to go do a range day? Which, at this time, no. I have a lot of security concerns. My car got cheesed the other day, like Velveeta cheese. They just, like, threw it on my car. And I just have to wonder, it's like, even when I get pranked, I have to wonder if the people that did it are just mentally deficient. Like, Kraft Velveeta, the Kraft cheese, like the plastic cheese slices, that's your idea of a prank, my guy? I guess it's supposed to peel off the paint or something like that, but it makes me think they're actually just, like, mentally not there. But I digress. I totally got lost in the weeds. I was talking about, yes, viewership. No, there's a demand for this, right? You know where we also see a demand? In Pokemon. You know what people want? People want Coliseum XD Gale of Darkness. People want Diamond Pearl Platinum to be readily available on like Virtual Console and stuff. You know what Nintendo doesn't make? Doesn't make the product. Now here, buy our new stuff. Or go through a third-party market and spend way more than you would spend through first-party, right? Well, then what do people do? They're going to get their sources somehow, even if you go to like less than savory methods, right? Or less than ideal methods of like, hey, somebody goes on eBay or Alibaba and buys like a repro cart, which Nintendo's just really weird about that, honestly. But yeah, no, it's one of those things that it's like, there's a market for this. You are ignoring and choosing to ignore that there is a market for this. And instead just trying to push a narrative that just, I don't get it, right? Like with the Pokemon argument, it's like, well, I mean, reasonably, the way you would fix that is, say, Nintendo, Pokemon, have first-party stuff for that. And if that doesn't work, I mean, then you do your best to buy carts and, you know, do your research to see if they're words brain repros or not. And if they're not authentic, I mean, then you're out a lot of money, especially if you were sold something that could be an authentic cart. I spend a lot of money on what Pokemon stuff I do have. I spent a lot. So this is something that, especially in the React content sphere, you have to be cognizant of. There is a market. How do you address the market? How do you fill the vacuum? How do you fill the void? The other thing is he has what, like 3 million subscribers or something like that. He's already made it. Man, I'm trying my hardest through exhaustion, just trying to make ends meet and do stuff, right? Like, I have my little spending freeze and stuff, and I got equipment and stuff, like even recently, to do some other projects and stuff. But like, it's one thing to have already made it and then retroactively complain, and another to be up and coming and comment on a lot of the struggles and stuff. And it can come across to a lot of people as tone deaf.
Fortunately, what all of these videos do is say, hey, reaction content's fine, as long as you like the reactor.
Since nothing really is legally keeping people in line, it's up to the community to self-police for what is and isn't okay. Viper understands this.
It's legal-ish. Like, they could claim him, they could strike him, but it's legal-ish until it's tested in court for now.
At the end of the day, even when things are legal, what you want is like social sanctions. Like if you watch Ludwig's video talking about the gambling thing, he said, I don't know if I would take a gambling sponsorship, but it's not because I think it's bad, but because I worry what people will think of me. My audience will be angry at me, potentially. And that kind of stuff is really powerful.
And this does happen. Once a year, XQC and Hassan get ritualistically blasted for leaving while the video is still playing, deterring other streamers from doing it. The community has landed where as long as you're present and trying, especially if you're being critical, then you're okay. He tries to act like in 2016 we had different standards. We didn't.
No. Like back in the day with reaction content, people would be like, well, you're doing reaction content, you fucking scum. And they'd be like, oh, well, I better not do reaction content, even though it's legal.
Yes. But the person who people were complaining about was Jinx, who never added anything. Hassan is better. XQC is better. Something Viper and I agree on is that we don't want a lazy streamer to get sued by a big company and then set a bad precedent for what fair use is.
I think that's
Viper
fair.
writes, the legal positions of platforms like YouTube and Twitch balance on a razor's edge. All it would take is one single significant challenge that could destroy this delicate balance and make all of our careers impossible. Citing XQC, Disguised Toast, and Hassan watching anime and cartoons. The problem is Viper is a complete spurg. He gets caught up in emotion and semantics rather than the topics, so it leads to some of the most unproductive dialogues.
Cause I am the baddest of them all. If you ain't about money, then I don't mess with y'all.
And that's really the extent of the argument Matt has made on his dozen or so videos on the topic. And every video is the exact same thing. It's Matt responding to other people's opinion with his opinion, but he presents his opinion as a fact. It's literally just him making semantic arguments. For example, Charlie's original video argues that React content is good exposure for small channels, and that Viper's solution of getting rid of React content won't help small channels.
So even right away, his initial tweet going for the most extreme approach approach possible. All reactors are bad people, exploit others to benefit no one but themselves, collectively stolen millions of dollars from actual creators, and have stopped countless thousands from having a career. I wonder how many small channels are out there shaking their fist right now like, damn you, Pokimane, my channel died because you watched my video on your stream and said nice things about me. But I would like to give you a couple of examples of times where channels we've reacted to, very small channels, have been able to turn it into a full-time career, and it has really helped them grow.
Viper then responds saying he never argued on behalf of small creators.
And there's no guarantee that now that the React content's gone, those eyeballs turn towards the small YouTubers. You can't prove that.
Nowhere in the—
I can, beyond a shadow of a doubt, I can prove, I guess prove is one of the, because I have to actually like poll people and I have to actually gather it. But there's a number of people that have reached out, and there's a number of people that have commented that, oh, Kip, I found X through you, or I found this creator through you, or I found, you know, this other creator or this other thing through you, right? I'm not saying I'm this nexus for their success by any means. What I do is what areas of the internet that I hit, I allow people that haven't seen other people. So there's people that are like, I never knew Fat Electrician existed. I never knew his second channel, Fat Files, existed. I had no idea who Russian Badger was. I had no idea who Rubik's Raptor was until I watched one of your videos on one of your reactions. And then I went and followed them, right? In my opinion, that's the goal of React content. I'm hitting a different sphere than a lot of other people. Other people hit different spheres than I do, right? And you see how we kind of just ping pong back and forth and, you know, speaking positively, thinking critically, and, you know, having discussions, right, can help bring out people, right? Exactly. People in chat right now. Tom Christie, love him. That Electrician, right? People found them through reactions I've done. Once again, I'm not the reason for their success. What I can say is that the way that I do things, I have absolutely sent people over that. And you know what? And that's the thing, right? Somebody recommended me Willie Mac, and that's why we're here. Somebody was like, hey, you should go check him out. Cool. I'm here now. Awesome. Dude's awesome. Dude's got some great takes. It's, you know, we're talking about stuff that I talk about on a daily basis in this. This is super cool. That's how that should work.
This document, do I use small creators anywhere? Anywhere!
There's no way for you to prove that if the React content wasn't there, all of those eyeballs that they are occupying of that finite pool of impressions would be redistributed to the smaller creators. You have no way of proving it. Nobody really does.
Then it is fantastic that not even for a single moment did I come anywhere close to arguing that point in all 14 pages that I wrote.
But he did. He says creators who are reacted to should strike down the reactors' channels, and they should do it for all those people who have had to quit the career they love due to a reactor's greed. In the same video where he says he didn't make the small channels argument, he makes the same argument.
You have collectively denied thousands of people careers because an algorithm has a better chance of serving people content that they want to watch long term than you do watching videos at random.
Whose career?
Do you know why I've denied some people collabs and stuff? Because I've had some people reach out to me, especially like early on when I was getting kickstarted and stuff. And then they just end up later on, they're just like, they end up just not wanting to be there. They end up just, you know, oh, F you, Kip, that kind of thing. I have a weird intuition with certain people, but the other part of it is it's like, it's a lot of work. Even just what I do, right? It's a lot of work. And so I think people have this romanticized notion of being a YouTuber, a romanticized notion of being a streamer and stuff, right? And like, my job is not as hard as somebody like Moist Criticals. Is not as hard as somebody like Fat Electricians. Is not as hard, right? Because they're actually editing and doing things, right? And they have numbers that they have a little bit of padding and stuff, right? Where I'm teetering on that knife's edge, I feel, between trying to be positive, looking up to role models I have, such as Russian Badger and Project Melody and Dragon Spit, right? All creators I just adore, I idolize, I think they're great, I think they're positive. And the unfortunate part of my life where I literally talk about like foreign and domestic policy, military affairs, some of the stuff I've been through on a near daily basis. And so like I have this duality of laughing but also serious, and that conflicts for a lot of people, which is completely fair. It's whiplash, 100%. So like, I don't know. This is a very weird argument. I need to hear this again.
Of serving people content that they want to watch long term than you do watching videos at random.
Whose careers are they denying if not small creators? This is
Yeah, exactly. And you could argue, I mean, well, Kip, just because you're not willing to do a one-off with this random, right? Or you're a one-off with someone, right? Like, I mean, nothing stops anyone from posting a video. It is so easy. Let me open up my phone right now. So if I open up my phone right now, right? Unlock my phone. And then I go to YouTube. And there's a funny little plus button at the bottom, right? oh, I can do a post, a live, or a short. And you can just start doing that easily. And I mean, you just got to know what you want to do, how you want to entertain people. Are you wanting to be informative? Are you wanting to do React content? Are you wanting to be entertaining? Are you wanting to educate people, right? I mean, there's a number of things that you can do, and it's picking what you want to do. That's why I have multiple channels for different things, and at least I'm trying to get them up off the ground when I can finally get enough sleep. I'm trying, man. I'm trying. Destiny Final Shape did not help with that. So, yeah. I mean, you can grasp at straws all day and say that you're denying small channels, careers, and stuff like that. For me, you got to prove that you're invested at the very least. Not saying you have to have big numbers, right? But you got to prove that you're willing to do work, and you got to prove that you're, taking pride in what you do, and that you're not just doing it to, say, get a Kip collab and then just buy and then just ghost me, right? Or have some L take about me, right? I'm very shy by nature, and I'm very picky by nature, if that makes sense. And that actually translates over into why I don't do range days and stuff, because I don't know if somebody's going to draw on me or pull on me if I go do a public range day. That is, there's too much variance, and the skill and the floor for stuff to happen and go wrong is so low. So that's kind of reasons why I'm hesitant to do stuff like that. It's just privacy and safety and security kind of things. But I mean, there is a kernel of truth here where it's like, yeah, if somebody works 80 hours a week to make a video every 2 weeks, right? And a React content creator can swoop in, add nothing, or add very minimal things, say maybe 2 minutes, right? And then re-upload it. What is the incentive, like we talked earlier? What is the reason for them to keep continuing? It's contextual, and there's a balance.
Semantics to frame Charlie as being dishonest when he's not. If Matt could name one big creator who's lost their career due to React content, that would give his argument a lot of backing, but he doesn't name them because that person doesn't exist. It's a made-up scenario. Hell of an argument you got there, Matt. Another YouTuber tries his best to cite some sources on why React content hasn't hurt his channel. Viper says his sources aren't good enough to draw those conclusions, and then he recites his own argument, which has 0 sources.
Nice. Without any obvious sign of benefit, the crit decides that he just needs to invent benefits that, while he can't show them to you, you should nevertheless just trust they exist.
That's the same with you. He's so unself-aware, he just screams 14 pages over and over again as if that proves his point.
It's 14 pages! 14 pages!
You know why I don't read those 14 pages? It's because he effectively pokes fun and is... I've asked people from different ages. I asked my parents. I relayed the entire Dark Viper situation to my parents, right? Who effectively are just, they have more experience than I do. And I relayed to them, he is likening what I do, and I explained what React content is, what I do, right? To people that will SA people. Both of them showed that it was inappropriate. They thought that it was inappropriate. Like, that's not how that works. As somebody who's been through SA, that's a very inappropriate thing to even cite and say. And I do take professional and personal issues with this 14-page document to the point that I just dismiss it, right? Don't make fun of that stuff. Someone that's gone through it, somebody's had nightmares, don't do it, man. It's not worth. So, and then there's others that's just like, well, just don't care. He's just, personally internet, he's going to have an L take, right? And reasonably, that's where I'm at, right? Like, this is partially a video of closure, considering my interactions with him, of looking at this, seeing what he's saying, objectively saying, this is rather inappropriate. And I've had people defend it saying, well, Australians, because it's from Australia, Australians just kind of go to extremes like that. That's not normal, in my opinion, in my experience. People don't usually make comparisons on the extreme like this. Right. And there's going to be people that go, oh, Kip, you've done it on a number of occasions. Sometimes it serves, right? Like the whole legality thing, or going with the herd mentality. Talked about, Germany in World War II. Talked about the Holodomor. I talk about a bunch of serious stuff. And sometimes I got to make a big thing. Like, I understand that sometimes it's like, this clearly isn't getting through to you. Let's make a big thing that's kind of tangentially related. So I can understand what he's going for. But it affects me differently because I've gone through it. And that's not fair to subject anyone who's gone through that too. And the fact that, and it's the thing is, like, at the end of the day, he still has 3 million subscribers that believe in what he says. And you know what? That's perfectly fine. I'm not saying you can't watch the man. I'm presenting the evidence from a survivor. I'm saying that this is incredibly inappropriate and then you to make your own decision based on that. I'm not saying to cancel him. I'm not saying to fight him. I'm not saying to do anything, which is so weird because people assume I'm just trying to cancel stuff. It's weird.
14 pages of painstaking detail.
Viper said Ethan memeing him saying 14 pages has traumatized him.
It's 14 pages!
Because one of my favorite people on the internet, Dark Viper, 14 pages!
I don't think Ethan is a very
Awful,
good person. And his using a soundbite of one of the most traumatic, angry moments of my entire life for many, many years on his stream, perhaps 100 times, is a bit more than excessive and very sick.
Why was this traumatic for you? You're angry over nothing. Viper writes an essay where he name drops Charlie, argues that he's a harm to the entire creator space, and draws comparisons to Grape, so Charlie responds. You see, Charlie...
So, watch my Shoe on Head video about the war on normal men and putting out hit pieces on YouTube, my discussion from that. That's what I'm going to cite there. When you put out a hit piece, if I was to say, call out, I don't know. If I was to call out, I totally forgot his name, I'm so sorry. If I called out WillyMac right now, I said, WillyMac is X, right? Or WillyMac does X, I don't like him, right? WillyMac, if you watch this, right? How reasonably you can fire back, right? Or one, you can just not care. Two, you can be like, I mean, well, you did kind of say this. If I was to say something about, well, I don't like Charlie because he does X, right? West Criddle can either not care, or now he has every right to be like, okay, I mean, if you're going to cherry pick tweets, sure, I'll cherry pick your tweets, right? Like, doing hit pieces is just ill-advised, and you better be open to that backlash. It's why I disagree with people, and even then, like, I can disagree with points and stuff. I don't think they're an awful person by any means. In fact, I feel like I've mellowed out over the 2 years I've done this, right? Just, like, actually engaging, socializing, doing what I'm doing. I feel like I've mellowed out a lot. So... just, I'm really rambling on this one. This is an interesting one.
Responding to this viral public document about him actually makes Matt the victim because Matt didn't make the video yet.
Of course, I will applaud Charlie. By coming out ahead of my video, he can undercut it so heavily that it will no longer be taken seriously. The ideas within it will not be looked at with an open mind. Good job using your platform to crush down dissent against your empire of unpaid labor.
If you didn't want him to respond, you shouldn't have tweeted the essay. He frames all these people as corrupt, but maybe they just disagree, man. That's why actman's not responding to your long-ass essay.
And none of these people care enough at all.
What did Asmongold say? My life goal is to react to so many different videos that essentially infect every single YouTuber's recommendation. Honestly, what a solid business model, actually. I could actually learn a thing or two from that. React to so many different things. And I like doing this, honestly. Because I can, the biggest thing is like making sure I have the time, streamlining my process in a way that I'm not, overworking myself, because I'm a workaholic. I'm pretty prone to doing that. Honestly, what a good business model. Honestly, like straight up. I have respect for that as long as he's doing, and honestly, Asmongold adds stuff to him. Does he add things all the time? I mean, he could probably add more, but at the end of the day, right? He has a lot more subscribers, and generally I agree with his takes. Sure, there's things I disagree with, but I mean, that's anybody. That's socializing. Just because you disagree with somebody doesn't mean you have to cancel them. Doesn't mean that you want to cancel them. And it's weird because so many people think disagreement equals canceling. It's a problem. So, honestly, good business model. I like it.
Why actman's not responding to your long-ass essay.
And none of these people care enough at all. They just want some views.
He ended relationships with friends over this, struck critical reactions of him, and openly abused the DMCA system. And he's always been this way, spazzing out and banning supporters for not being good at Among Us.
I apologize, I'm still a little new at the game.
If you don't even know how to win the game, why are you playing?
I do, I'm just...
Okay, so I teach raids in Destiny, and I've gotten a little heated a couple times. Chat, I'm not that bad, right? Like, that's next level for me. Like, I think one of the worst times that I've ever gotten even sort of elevated is when people refuse to do the mechanic, right? Is when they just blatantly refuse, like, oh, I don't want to do this. I'm literally telling you how to succeed. It's not a skill issue. It's not a mechanics thing. It's that they just refuse to do it, right? Like, I teach Destiny raids, and I still don't get that heated. Maybe I'm not doing so bad, now I think about it.
Claiming other speedrunners have made his life worse simply because they were better than him.
He has made my life worse, measurably so.
And being depressed because a guy trolled a forum.
Why must my life suffer? Why must I suffer so?
So in the tweet that I made to him, he literally said something along the lines of, I just want my piece at this point. You know, something along the lines of, you know, I'm no different than the rest as a React content creator, directly citing his tweet as, you know, being inappropriate with SA. This man just, I kind of pity him at this point. Like, my anger has turned to pity. And so I want to thank WillyMac for doing this, because, like, this is closure in an aspect for me of, like, yeah, people are kind of just looking at him, and he has a victim complex, and he just doesn't, he needs professional help. It's weird. Just all that anger and frustration just turned to pity. What a sad little man.
Oh, with no one caring for so long.
This is a lot. I need a break.
Nice.
With Fume, cold turkey may be great on sandwiches, but there's a better way to break your bad habits.
I like
not everything in a bad habit is wrong, so instead of drastic, uncomfortable change, why not remove the bad from your habit? When it comes to bad habits, sometimes the easiest thing to do is to replace them with a good habit. Fume is an innovative device that does just that. No electronics, no vapor, no harmful chemicals. You get it. Instead of bad, Fume is good. It's a hobby you're free to enjoy. It makes replacing bad habits easy. Fume is just flavored air, and it's actually really well designed. There's this fun magnet that attaches to the body. Pull out one of the flavored cores, insert it into the fume, twist it to adjust the airflow, and that's the good stuff. I like it because when I get bored at work, instead of getting up to grab another snack or another cup of coffee when I definitely don't need it, I could just fidget with the Fume and still get that stimulant of flavor when needed. So break your destructive habits and join Fume. Go to tryfume.com/WillyMac or scan the QR code and use code WillyMac to get 10% off when you order the Journey Pack today. Thank you, Fume, for sponsoring this video.
Honestly, 10 out of 10 ad read. It was on brand. It was on theme. It was very concise. I liked the transition. The audio was the same. Like, it didn't feel like it was done in a different take or edited weirdly, right? Honestly, 10 out of 10 ad read. Like, solid. Which React content creators apparently skip ad reads? Dude, it's free content. Plus, you get to look at how people read stuff. And it's like, okay, I like what they did about this, right? It was on brand. Some of the shots were pretty cool. I don't know if it was stock footage or not, but I mean, like the shot of what the candy, right? That kind of thing. I thought it was very well paced. It's short, it's sweet, it's concise, it does exactly what it needs to, and it leaves me with enough that, like, you know, maybe I should go check out Fume, which I was like, oh, I could probably check that out. This seems cool. I don't know enough about it, right? That's a good ad read right there.
Objection! This all started in November of 2023 when Viper struck Chud Logic for reacting to his video. Now, this is a big deal in the commentary space because a heavily critical reaction video getting struck down because the original content creator didn't like it is a threat to the nature of the commentary community, where the entire point is to criticize and engage in online discussion. At this time, I had yet to see Chud's video, but when Tom tweeted, "Hello, Dark Viper," people are saying you filed a DMCA takedown on a fair use commentary video by Chud Logic, hoping to get some kind of comment or clarification. I said I agree, especially coming from the fair use guy. At this point, it wasn't even clear if Viper filed the DMCA. It wasn't filled out correctly and was full of spelling errors.
This is
okay, but that's the thing. I like how they're approaching this, right? I haven't seen any of this situation. Like, this is weird. What is happening here? The fact that this can even get filed, even if it's, why does YouTube allow incorrectly filled copyright claims and strikes to go through? If you are a company of repute, so say if I use a bit of Metallica, right? Famous over there, right? Lawsuit of unfaith, right? With the chord E and F progression, setting precedent. If I used a Metallica thing and Metallica didn't even fill it out right, why should that even be grounds to do that, right? You're a company, you have lawyers, you're a large entity, right? Wow. That's wild if it isn't even filled out correctly. That's wild.
There's someone trying really hard to sound like Dark Viper, or it's just him because
it might be a
it's
troll.
worded in a way that only he would say things. I'm gonna try not to like make fun of this too much here, but it opens with saying, "I have made particular study of fair use law."
But if he did, stating why is a reasonable ask. He was acting so shifty on stream about it.
Dark Viper, were you the one who filed a DMCA on Chud Logic's reaction to you? Just wanted to clarify if that was you and not an impersonator.
Nicholas, I know you're a historic star. I don't care.
What?
He screenshotted my tweet and said, I gotta say, the staggering irony of you going after Hassan right now for being uninformed and yet speaking confidently, then coming out with this take that suggests the absolute polar opposite of my viewpoint that I have repeated ad nauseum for the past 4 years is breathtaking, my dude. He then messaged me 2 videos timestamped with him saying he doesn't think React content falls under fair use, but even if it did, he doesn't care.
While I did take one paragraph to point out that the React content I was criticizing is not protected under American fair use law, I further went on to say that even if it was, I wouldn't care. The reason I think React content shouldn't exist has nothing to do with America's antiquated ideas of copyright.
At this point, I was confused because what did I get wrong that was on the level of Hassan? All I did was make a tweet, and it was that I called him the fair use guy. Viper's talking past me a bit. When I'm calling him the fair use guy, I just mean he's somebody who argues about it, which he did in his document. He cited Legal Eagle's video on fair use when making his own video.
You can watch Legal Eagle be the 900th lawyer to explain this.
All I'm saying here is he should give a statement for why he struck it down, not why he's a champion of fair use, which I think is...
So did he confirm do this or not? I like the way that he presented it on allegations. Did you allegedly do this? I think I missed the part. Did he do this or not? Because that's large in the resolution.
How he's taking it? He wants to argue the semantics of me calling him the fair use guy. Am I the fair use guy, Willy? Is that even in the ballpark of who I am? And I clarify, you're the most infamous for saying React content isn't fair use, which I don't even think your stance is crazy. You should address the Chud thing if you haven't and show receipts for why you struck it, if you even did.
So
he then replies, do you honestly think my stance actually matters? Yes, it actually matters more than anyone else in this situation. You're the copyright holder. He just doesn't act like a normal person. Everyone else is acting so reasonable, and he's so over the top. He then hits me with, how long have you been doing this, Willy? At this point, I realize I'm talking to a crazy person. He's not directly answering anything. I'm just here for...
No. He's living rent-free in Dark Viper's head at that point. No, Dark Viper needs some professional help. Like, I say this as someone who is genuinely worried at this point, at least in this situation. He needs professional help. He needs some help.
The ride now. I go a long time. He states, I have no way to not be patronizing when I say this, perhaps not long enough. Have you taken a peruse at what's being said about me? I don't care. I just want to know if you struck the video. It's a combination of things shown false in about a 6-second Google search, and that everything is false about him. All I wanted to know is if Viper struck Chud and why. He's being so indirect. If Viper just said, because I don't think it's fair use, that would have been a good enough reason for me. Chud's even been reasonable about it.
How is the market for your original work affected by this use? There is no reason to watch the original if you have viewed the re-upload. All information and graphics have already been seen. So, I think this is arguable as to whether that's the case, because, I don't know. I'm willing to kind of accept that, yeah, it is obviously the full 9-minute video that he uploaded. But, like, what with the way it's been transformed and the way that I'm commentating and things like that, is it really like a replacement to the original work? Like,
it can be.
This is something where I think it's a bit uncertain as to how that would be viewed. Yeah,
it depends, right? I mean, I would argue if you can turn a 30-minute video into a 2-hour video, which definitely haven't done that before. No, sir, Chad, I've never turned a 30-minute or a 10-minute video into a 3x work. Absolutely not. Never would I ever do that. God, it depends, right? It's situational. Even then, that's why lawyers would need to be paid in regards to a large settlement or a large situation like this. This is the legal nitty-gritty territory that a lot of people are still looking at as a large swath of gray area. And all it takes, is one unfortunate situation for this to all turn upside down. Yeah, no, like it's the answer is this transformative or is this fair use? It depends, and it even depends to the lawyer talking about. I would argue, I would assume too, right?
9-minute video, and my edit of it was like between 35 and 40 minutes or something like that. So yeah, this is one factor. I'm not certain on that. You know, legally, not sure what the situation would be, but I think that I would, be willing to argue that there's a case to be made that isn't necessarily true.
But he's
so I guess, and that's the thing as well, something to just think on, right? If you're going to do GTA content, right, and say you're just going to do minimal talk over, you're just playing the game, I mean, wouldn't that be eligible for DMCA takedown? I mean, it's different, say, if I'm playing something like, what do I play? Final Fantasy 14, right, over on the Kip, Kizuna Kip TV channel, right, how I have up through Endwalker, right? Like playing that, and if I was to just play that, especially with some of the songs, like what is it? One of the ones in Heavensward gets claimed a lot. Like it's different if I upload commentary and me playing and versus me just like, you know, just showing the fight, right? And even then that gets into a little bit of a gray area. So I mean, yeah, this is why I would love talking with lawyers. I would never want to be on the other end of that barrel of a lawyer.
Bouncing all over the place, relating it back to my drama with Hassan, that people should give him the benefit of the doubt. He then asked me if I know what a DMCA is, and he says he can't file a false DMCA if it's his content in the video. But again, he's arguing semantics. He knows what I mean. The colloquial term for a false DMCA is when somebody strikes a video not because of their IP, but because of what the person has to say. He then goes, people have no clue what fair use defends. Consequently, any use of DMCA will create some ire with people. If you struck down Hassan or XQC because they got up and left, or a streamer who didn't add anything, nobody would care. Yeah. People are mad because you took down a 35-minute critical reaction video of your 9-minute video. This is stupid because Viper's critique of React content is that they're taking the hard labor of others and passing it off as their own, not adding anything worth.
That's an attack. That is an attack in censorship, right? If I were to make a, let's say I were to make a 9-minute video talking about something, right? Maybe talk about Destiny, right? And it ended up being an L take, or I said some accuracies, right? And someone made a 35-minute reaction saying, I don't know where he's pulling this information. Objectively, this is true. But, like, he doesn't... being critical of me, right? And I were to strike them? Yeah, people have a right to be pissed at me. Especially if I don't even talk to the dude first. Right? Like, you see how... Even if you take the big fame, the big position, the, you know, streamer, YouTuber that made it out of the situation, if I were to do it, right? People would be pissed at me, and rightfully so. Like, you could have used that opportunity to talk to the person and like, hey, you know, let's have a chat about this, right? Have you seen my 14-page document? Have you done XYZ ABC, right? And then you can have a dialogue from that. But no, from my own experience, this man would rather just write you off as someone that would, you know, essay and grape and view you as the scum of the earth and just move on with his day. He wants to put out that negativity, and I would argue it's biting him in the ass.
And how React content harms everyone except the reactors. Reactors to mean the people who watch videos and pause occasionally. Some other things people stupidly call reactions, like commentary content, can be fair use, but not watch parties. How skilled you are at pressing the pause button and having a discussion with your chat is entirely irrelevant.
Chud reacted to a low-effort 9-minute stream segment of Viper being salty that Jax Films was getting praised for criticizing Sniper Wolf. Chud reacting to and making fun of Viper took more time and effort than Viper's original video.
What Sniper Wolf does is orders of magnitude more creative, or at least what editors do, than what Asmongold does.
What? Objectively false?
He is just creating these distinctions where no distinction exists because he wants to shit on the streamers more. That's my interpretation of this.
Bias.
I don't see any other way of interpreting this. Because
I'm blocking
you can have
dude.
criticism of Asmongold's React stuff, and there's some good arguments against it and whatever. But like, Asmongold does say a lot of stuff when he's watching these videos.
Yeah, he does.
That doesn't mean legally he's justified, because I don't know if that is the case.
Right.
But the idea that like Sniper Wolf is more creative, I don't know. Has he even watched the fucking Sniper Wolf video?
Doomer Media gave a great take for why this point makes no sense, even using Viper's logic.
Looking at Dark Viper's original argument, there is no ethical justification for striking Chud's video. It is not parasitic. It is not exploitative. It is not lazy, and it is not a market replacement.
You know, actually, I would actually love people to look at some of the stuff I've done. I would love kind of a breakdown. Like, and that, like, not to like openly, like, you know, bag on me, right? But like to look at and be like, okay, like, I see what you do here. Is this parasitic? Is this exploitive? Is this freebooting? Like, I don't know, just kind of like the funny A-word audit, right? Like somebody to look at a video, like I don't know, like a Phallic Electrician reaction that I've done, or someone that, you know, mutually is like, yeah, no, reactions are fine, right? And to kind of dissect it, I think that'd be super cool, right? And like, especially if it were to be to an end of like React content creation and being ethical about it on YouTube, I think that'd be super cool, right? Love to submit something for that.
The only justifications you can really give are legal justifications, which should not matter because Dark Viper himself is claiming that the legal arguments don't matter.
I just don't know anybody who watches Chud's video tearing into Mad and views it as a market replacement. If I'm wrong, he should be able to show the damages, similar to how Mad Seasons did when Asmon was using his title. Here's the other thing with Viper, every time someone has a critique of them, he claims that it's out of context when it's not.
Hey guys, I'm gonna take this thing entirely out of context. He is so keen to poison you against this 14-page, meticulously argued document that he goes to the length of finding tweets out of context. He doesn't show the context.
And to say that I'm taking things out of context to poison the well is very disingenuous because I didn't take them out of context. I'll show you the whole context
Literally
right
says
here.
this.
One of his fans pointed out their disappointment that he would compare React streamers to someone that would commit sexual abuse.
Yeah.
And he argued with this person by saying that their behavior is similar to someone that would sexually abuse someone.
To people, honestly, L take. Objectively L take. It's just one of those things that just you shouldn't joke about. Because it's very real to people. It's very real, and some people go through that. And it's not in any way, shape, or form enjoyable. And I don't wish that on my worst enemy. I wouldn't wish that on Dark Viper. Let's put it that way. I would not wish SA on him. I wouldn't. No. That's wrong. That is inappropriate, is the word I will use.
People who go around in real life and drug and rape people, so...
I just wish every person who makes that claim would care enough to go back and read my old essay. And in the context of my original essay, these references are still perfectly fine.
Viper then says, I perhaps may have read more in regards to fair use than any person alive. He then corrects himself to any person relating to this case. He then says he took down the reaction video not because of the content, but because it was a reaction video. He then wraps up this anime-esque monologue by connecting it back to me calling him the fair use guy. And I'm like, but you are the fair use guy. You just said you know about it more than anyone else alive, and you talk about it routinely.
If you read into it, fair use is incredibly weak in what it defends. There are even courts that may have ruled against H3H3 given how they've ruled in prior fair use cases.
When he filed a strike against Chud, he unnecessarily listed his credentials, even though it's not relevant to people filling out the form. The fact that Matt is so mad that I called him the fair use guy is perfectly on brand for him. Viper disagreed, saying, it's like if you said Viper is the Lego guy, and when I said, no, I'm not the Lego guy, you responded, why are you bringing up Lego right now in my DMs? Checkmate. Bro, if you made a 14-page essay about Lego and then wrote in my DMs that you know more about Lego than anyone else alive, I would call you the Lego guy.
People call me a fish VTuber because I made the funny fish incident video on the other channel, right? Right? It just did this stupid TikTok pufferfish meme that keeps popping into my feed every couple of years, right? Like, I can't get mad at people when I put out the fish incident video and talk about how fish always come up in my feed, right? This, whether it's a pufferfish, whether it's the fish cannon, right? Like, exactly, right? If you don't want to be known as the person, don't do the thing, right? If I don't want to be known as someone that does Final Fantasy 14, I don't play Final Fantasy 14. If I don't want to be associated with Destiny, then I don't react or play Destiny, right? Like, I don't react to it or play it. Like, people are allowed to formulate their own opinions and stuff, right? This feels like common sense.
I feel like I'm talking to a schizophrenic. He'd make a video and repeat this without showing any of the context of him calling himself a fair use expert.
Especially coming from the fair use guy.
In my work, multiple times, I have specifically laid out that my criticism of reaction content has nothing to do with fair use. Willy here showcases how none of these people had any interest in watching even one of the videos I've made outlining my thoughts on this topic. Yet even despite being aware of their ignorance, they don't care. They still make claims like this one.
I did watch your original video and read your essay. Again, the only reason I called you the fair use guy is because you argue against it with React content, which is true.
I actually DM'd WillyMacShow and said, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm clearly not the fair use guy. He should not said, bro, if you're not the fair use guy, why are you in my DMs talking about fair use? Like if he called me the king of Lego and I messaged him and said, hey, I'm not the king of Lego, what are you talking about? For Willy, that will be all the confirmation that he needs that I am actually the king of Lego.
Am I crazy? Twist. He did call himself an expert in fair use. He knows more than anyone else related to this case. I wish you shared that DM. I feel like I'm getting trolled.
None of these people, when wanting to understand my positions or why I was doing what I was doing, thought to look at the entire series that explains exactly that. I sincerely cannot fathom that level of stupidity or indifference to the truth.
I have now watched all of Viper's React content series, and it is just the same video reposted over and over again with no new data or findings. Viper would give his reasoning for striking Chud, saying that it's not because of the criticism or the hate, but because React content in principle is immoral.
I dislike when my view is characterized by a disagreement over people adding to the content, as this is—
So here's the inherent flaw in his logic, right? In my opinion. Let's use the Fat Electrician. I'm borrowing from a lot because I react to a lot of his content. I really like it, right? I emailed him, as I said earlier, and he said, yeah, go ahead, do it, right? What gives Dark Viper, in any way, shape, or forms, grounds to speak on behalf of the Fat Electrician? What grounds? What legal grounds does he have to talk for him, to do actions for him, right? And I think that's the part that he's wanting this blanket ban. As far as I'm aware, he used to do React content, and maybe I kind of hit the similar stage of like, I'm just doing React content. I want to do other things, but just nothing else is taking off. And that being, it's the shoe on head thing, right? Hey, if you're not seeing the views, make better content. And honestly, that's kind of stuck with me, right? Make better content, right? If I'm worried about views, if I'm worried about something, just not working, make better content. And that's something that's been kind of sticking with. Part of it is luck, don't get me wrong, but it's one of those things that I'm looking at and I'm just like, that makes a lot of sense. So what inherently comes to mind is, yes, if a creator does not want React content, say Terminal Montage, right? Love their work. They don't want reactions. That's fine. Sure, yes, they should have every tool at their disposal to ask or take the video down. Yeah, sure. Why not, right? Yeah. If you don't want your content re-uploaded, that's fine. But what about the ones that are fine with it and say, yeah, I don't really care, right? Do you think that that's fair to insert your will over someone else? Do you think that that's fine for the people that are fine with it to just be overridden and, oh, no, I'm the one true thing that should be done here. This is the one true thing. It's like, dude, get over yourself.
What others complain about, but not me. It would be irrelevant to me if the video XQC was watching was about what it was like to live with severe brain damage, something he could provide sincere insight into. It would be equally as irrelevant to me if Hassan Pike was watching a video about how to exploit people for fame and fortune while being a lying hypocrite, something that appears to be the only thing he actually has expertise in. It wouldn't matter to me because addition is irrelevant to my issues with reaction content. To give a very, very brief summary, my issues are with the market impact of reaction content. We have two groups of people, reactors and creators, but only one of these puts forth effort and incurs risk and cost.
I already showed why I disagree with him, but he believes it and he was willing to take it to court. And Viper has every legal right to do that. I just don't think this case lines up with his moral reasoning. Chud doesn't have money to go to court, so he had to take the video down. But then Viper arguably started to falsely copyright strike people. He admitted to abusing the DMCA.
He got a power trip. He got a power trip from that. Dude, that is escalation right there.
DMCA system when it comes to unfavorable clips of him. So people start making fun of him, using old clips of him getting unironically angry while playing Among Us.
He runs around the entire fucking map to come to O2. And I'm like, I had nothing to say. I was literally speechless. I did not speak that entire time because I was so confused why we were still in the game.
Dude, chill out. You're gonna have a coronary, my dude. Like, it's just Among Us. Who cares? Like, doing Halo on Lasso in a 4-man, someone dies repeatedly, takes us 6 hours. Who cares? Like, if I know I'm going to get angry in like Destiny 2 Pantheon, cost benefit analysis, just do literally anything else with my day. He needs some help. Like, this is awful. And I look at this and it's just like, it's interesting because it's lessons I can take on what not to do, right? Hey, maybe I'm getting a little heated on stream. Maybe I need to do something else. Maybe I need to play something else, right? You know, it's weird. Like, just watching someone else just fail and flail. There's merit in it because you can watch it and know what not to do.
I have never been this mad at a person in the entirety of my life!
I apologize. I'm still a little new at the game.
If you don't even know how to win the game, why are you playing?
Okay, so context that I think we're missing. It's been pointed out that day he got so mad because he was also told he could have Hashimoto's disease and wanted to de-stress by playing Among Us. I would argue he shouldn't have done it on stream then. That is one of those things like... So I've had to deal with, pets not being alive anymore, right? Had to deal with situations in Idaho as well, where down the road from me, there was a active incident, quote unquote, if you will. And it's like, if I'm not feeling good, I get the need to do stuff. I get the need to push out work. It's okay to take a pay hit, especially with the numbers he's making, with the consistency of his content, right? Like, I can't necessarily take an entire 2 weeks off work to do something, right? And so here's what I've learned, right, as well. Maybe I shouldn't be posting as much of my personal life as I've been doing, right? It's almost like Kip is self-actualizing, and he's, like, learning from his mistakes. And he's cognizant that, other people can worry about him even if he doesn't want people to worry about him. It's wild, right? That being said, if that is the case, I can understand how this would be stressful. However, this probably would have been better in a private VC, private match, maybe not on stream. And I think that's inherent. And that's the thing, is sometimes streamers, sometimes content creators, but sometimes we need a break. And I encourage everybody that sometimes you just need to take a break, right? If I had the funds, I'd go to Japan for a week, right? 100% would do it. Go to the Bass Pro Shop Pyramid in Tennessee? Do it, 100%. Sometimes it's not financially feasible, and that's fine. But the escalation and the just spiraling down is sad to see.
I do. I'm just sorry.
No, I'm just gonna ban Scott forever, because I'm gonna associate this with Scott for the rest of my fucking life.
Matt's response is to strike the video because it's out of context.
Since this clip has once again been brought up on Twitter by someone who's disingenuous, whatever, I've now said about striking this video. I don't want to.
But you're gonna anyway.
Or people want to paint me as this DMCA hungry guy. That's generally speaking not me. But I just think
if you factually and objectively submit DMCAs to censor opinions of you, yeah, I mean, people can call you the DMCA guy. You reap what you sow, right? You're not using an agency on behalf of you. You're not reaching out to these creators to say, hey, please take it down, right? You're not communicating. You're just using the DMCA system, which, once again, lawyers could figure that out.
This clip is just contributing to misinformation. And I don't think I have some moral obligation to contribute or to allow misinformation.
It's not out of context or misinformation, but even if it was, that's not what the DMCA system is for. You're abusing it because you're embarrassed of these clips. That's wrong. People start goofing on him by posting an old clip of him saying the N-word.
I gave him a weapon.
Oh, no, don't do it, don't do it.
Bullshit. No. Wait, I said it with an A.
And he strikes it too because he's embarrassed.
I am the rights holder. Of course I'm going to take down the things I don't like that serve no constructive purpose.
Is he the rights holder of GTA though? See, here's the thing, right? If he just has this face cam, right, which I'm conveniently blocking, right? If he has this face cam and is just playing GTA with a chat overlay, is that fair use? Does that count as gameplay? Would that hold up in a court of law? Or if, say, Rockstar didn't like it, would Rockstar retain the rights, right? You see how when you start trying to crusade at something and you do things that people look at and go, man, you're kind of an idiot. You see how that becomes a problem? I'm honestly gonna have to watch, see if this video gets DMCA'd by him. That's gonna be wild if so.
And keep up those I do like or serve some purpose. This particular clip exists for no other purpose than to allow people to disingenuously attack me with it because of the mistake I made when mimicking Franklin due to my surprise at the randomized dialogue.
And Chud Logic puts more effort into his reaction video than Viper did in his original video. He strikes it on principle of it being React content. But when people post only the necessary clip, he strikes it because it's out of context. In short, I think this is the last guy I want in favor arguing for copyright. He's emotionally blinded. His ideas aren't well thought out. He engages with criticism poorly, discrediting critics by using semantics, and speaks as if his opinions are based in fact when they're not.
It is just annoying that he doesn't explain at all why there could be some small impact that he's unable to see.
Bruh, I wish you'd reflect on that.
I'm dying inside.
So, okay, so further context, the guy he was screaming at in Among Us, apparently they talked in private later and made up. I mean, cool, like that's fine. Yeah, like as long as that's fine, right? It's one of those that we all have our L's when streaming, right? I've definitely streamed when I'm way too tired. I've definitely streamed when I'm way too stressed, right? Sometimes in a video you can hear how like tired I am, right? And you know, sometimes maybe I just don't need to do that, but sometimes you need it's a delicate situation. It's subjective. It's that this is one dot on a line that already has dots on it, right? Asmon's gold thing, how many dots make a line, right? It's that this is just one more log on the fire for a lot of people, right? And that being said, I don't wish him harm. I don't know enough about Hashimoto's disease. If he does have it, if he doesn't, hey, not my business, not my, it's not something that I really, one, care about, or two, it's not something that I feel is relevant to the conversation, right? Like, I don't wish harm on him. You know, if this was his one bad day, that's fine. I mean, then I guess I can excuse this. But his other stuff, as well as the documentation in regards to, as well as responding to me directly on Twitter, saying that, I'm no different than any of these other people in reference to SA, having been through SA myself, I take issue with that. I think that that's fair.
And all I see are demons.
Viper's a very emotional guy. We talked about how Ethan traumatized him for saying 14 pages.
This reminded me that very recently I found out that Ethan has something like 6 different sound effects of me on his podcast. Not only that, he has used them frequently for over 2 years. That is just really fucked up.
Divided by 14.
14 pages! As someone who has been incessantly harassed by him for years in front of thousands, he is one of those truly deserving of being driven off the internet. I don't know how sick of an individual you have to be to do something like this. Like, if he was using it in some wholesome way, or shouting me out in some positive way, fine, but he's just using it to mock me.
Good.
Not everybody has to agree with you. Not everybody has to be your friend. Source, me, a VTuber with shockingly few friends and has issues finding people, right? Not everyone's gonna be your friend. Why do you think that I assume Fat Electrician's gonna be my friend? Do you think that I assume Badger's gonna be my friend? It'd be cool, but at the same time, it's like, that's not reasonable. That's not reasonable to expect, right? Like, I think that's taking parasocialism to that next level. It starts crossing that line.
Yelling at the guy in Among Us, Viper would write, "Scott will not be unbanned. It was not simply that I was having a bad day. I was close to tears at the beginning of the stream. I felt impressively down, perhaps due to a lack of caffeine as I was kicking soft drink. I came to the one thing I love at the moment, Among Us. To have it ruined by a guy who didn't just play badly, he literally didn't play." After this, Viper uploaded a video saying he has no friends.
A lot of my life, I've wanted to play board games. Board games always look so enjoyable, but I had no friends to play them with. And the friends that I did have made it even worse, that they would play board games and not invite me.
I wonder why.
I get it. I get this. I understand. Okay. It's actually kind of shocking how similar some of his logic has been to mine. That's interesting. Because I get it, right? I always have had to be the one in my life to kind of start things, right? I loved going out to Legend of the Five Rings, L5R. For those that know, right, what clan are you? Wink, wink, right? Scorpion clan here, right? And to this day, I will still cite L5R in random conversations, right? Like, we're going to IHOP, and it's like, talking to my buddy, it's like, look, I'm going to assign to IHOP, and I'm going to bow out and go home after the fact. To 99% of you, you're going to know nothing about what I'm talking about. You're going to be like, bow out? What does that mean, right? But to those that know, they're just like, declare naval, I'll be at IHOP first, gonna swing in, right? It's just like, I get it. So communities like that I've enjoyed. But whether it's playing Yu-Gi-Oh, I've had to take the initiative there. Whether that's doing my YouTube stuff, I've had to take the initiative. Whether that's Twitch, I've had to take the initiative on stuff, right? And I've had other people kind of follow up asking, well, Kip, what do you do? What is your thing, right? And like, my really only big social event, and I want to praise SCA for this, like locally. I love just the Arnhold crew. They are such a anchor in my life when I so desperately need it. I get it. I get what it's like to not have friends. I get what it's like to have friends ripped away from you. I get what it's like to be lonely, to be alone. It's the choices we make when we're alone that define us, right? And you know what? Do I isolate? Sometimes. But you know what I also do? Go up to a Dragon Spit stream and say, hey, have a nice stream. Show up to someone else's stream. Have a nice stream. Try to talk with friends. Try to start those conversations. I have to be the go-getter, and I just accept this about my life. My life is weird, okay? Don't ever wish you were Kip. Don't ever do that. Like, it's an interesting life. His choice is to play the victim, to use it as the victim card, to refuse to progress, and to just remain. And that's really sad.
Something like half an hour to fill the lobby. Like, you guys may think I'm super famous and popular and shit, but there's not a heap of people who want to play with me. As a matter of fact, I once more asked a Discord full of other streamers if they wanted to play with me, and I got no responses. Again, I think it's maybe the 3rd or 4th time I've tried. I've left that server now, because it just brought back all the memories of my fucking friends not inviting me to play games. It just brought up those feelings. I don't like those feelings. I have people I'm playing with who are experienced with the game because that's what I requested, and so I kill a guy and the game doesn't end. I'm sitting there like, the game's not ending. The game is not ending. Why is the game not ending? I'm not a person who is lost for words very often, but my body from the person I killed was found, and they accused me of the kill, and I literally didn't speak. I was so just the weight of still being in the game was still washing over me. I was just having that bad of a day, and I'm like, is this it? Is this me one day doing something for myself, and this is the situation I find myself in? And so the game plays out for another 10 minutes, and me sitting there just going, I can't believe we're still in this game. And we end up losing. And I go off at this guy. I was just so fucking pissed that my one chance to save my day, to make myself feel good, is ruined by this guy who joined a game that he clearly should not have been in because he mustn't be experienced at the game, which was the very thing that I requested.
You're watching a mental breakdown in live action. And that's the thing, is it's like, the good person in me, which I don't see how I'm a good person in any capacity. I feel like a jerk most days. The good person in me is just like, reach out, see how he's doing. But I know that that's not the, I know that it would just not end well. And that's the thing. He's the porcupine. He curls up and it's all spikes all around him. No one wants to be around him. And so he creates his own problems. He has L takes, he does shitty things, and then he curls up and plays the victim. But you can't help him because he's just gonna bite your hand. And so then it feeds into itself. You see how this is a spiral at this point, right? And if someone doesn't want to help themselves, you can't help that. He doesn't want to be helped. He just wants to play the victim. He just wants to continue as he is, to not evolve. This is a sad existence.
And so I timed him out. And then I realized, like, I don't want to see this person ever again. I don't want to remember this bad day. I want to move on with my life, smooth sailing, so I banned this person. They were in a lobby they should not have been in explicitly and made no mention of their inexperience of the game, clearly deserving of a ban. This day sucks. It is the culmination of every negative thing in my life and reinforces in me that I can't have a day to myself. I don't deserve shit. I will get back to fucking editing, people.
Damn, you know what I do in that situation where I can't have a day to myself? Sometimes I tell people to F off. Sometimes I just do my own thing. But you know what? I look at it as, I have today. What am I going to do today? Oh, I'll clean a portion of my room today. I've done that. Oh, I've done this today. I've done that. I went to SA tonight. I did that. Oh, I did 14 React videos in a single stream. I did that today. And I just take it day by day by day. Yeah, I get it. Life sucks. Life can suck for a lot of us. Especially people that have been through SA or abuse. It sucks. Not going to sugarcoat it. It sucks. But at least you do what you can each and every day. And failure to do that, just to sit down on your hands and cry and pout and whine, that's not constructive. That will get you nowhere.
This is a grown-ass man. He is so set that reaction streamers are bad people that he cuts off friends over it. Carl Jobs took a sponsorship from Asmongold's PC company, and since Asmon makes React content, Carl essentially took blood money. Carl said, yes, this is the reason. I find the reason to be unhealthy and not a good thing. The email is insane. Carl, I don't have people close to me by choice. Friendship requires trust, and I don't give that out unless out of necessity. I've spent most of my life being kicked by those I've given even a measure of trust to. Regardless of whether you personally felt it meaningful, you broke the small measure of trust I gave you. A currency more rare than anything on this earth. I am under no obligation to associate with you anymore. He feels betrayed because his friend got a sponsorship. You can't have anything nice if you're friends with Matt. No wonder the only people left in his life are his mods.
There was this one question he asked where he asked about like who I talk about. He asked who I talk to about this. Who do I bounce ideas off? And I said to him, like I don't talk to anyone really. And then I'm a bit of a loner. Because I, in some respects, consider myself to be an old dog who was kicked a lot when he was a young dog. And so I don't really trust anyone.
Damn, man. I mean, yeah. You can have a really crappy past. You can go through a bunch of stuff. Does that mean that you turn into that? Does that mean that you don't rise above adversity? You choose to be a worse person? Stop justifying your actions, my guy. You either be a good person or you be a shitty person. I mean, you could be a neutral, a good person, shitty person, or a neutral person, right? You're actively choosing to not only be an awful person, but cut out friends over arbitrary stuff, right? This is bad. Got a horrible past doesn't mean to determine. Exactly, right? I was subject to SA. Does that mean I do it to someone else? God, no. Absolutely not. I don't wish that on anybody. So, I mean, if we're going to talk about past, if we're going to talk about scars, right? Military. I know you're in the chat. I know we got military, Marines, Navy, Air Force. How much crap did you go through when you served? When you were on deployment, when you were at basic, right? How much crap did you go through? How many people did you lose? And honestly, you don't even need to answer that, right? We all have crappy pasts. We all have things in our past that aren't happy and sunshine and roses, right? And some people come from crap. I'm not going to say that they don't. And it's okay to be frustrated about those things. But to perpetuate it and to actively be a source of negativity and just vitriol, that's a problem.
I have no confidence. I just assume that everyone will eventually work against my interests unless there's an explicit reason for them not to. Just never really had anyone in my life that I can trust a lot. The closest thing I have now is my mods.
I knew a person for about half my life who just ended up just being just a manipulative liar. I get it. Seek help, grow up, do something. It's sad to see that he's going to let his past and his flaws drag him down. Do you? And he could turn around tomorrow. He could, make amends. He could, come, and if he still wanted to fight React content, he could still do that. Like, hey, I advocate for a more ethical React content sphere, or hey, I think this just needs to be more ethical, right? Like, he could do so much. To see that potential, and to just see it wasted. That's tragic. That is truly tragic.
But it's not the same thing, Like if I'm going to talk to anyone about anything, it is my mods.
How can you have no one you trust? If there's literally nobody that you trust, there probably is something wrong with you rather than everyone else. You might be kind of a schizo person. I mean, this is just very sad to listen to.
He's like this with everything. A fellow GTA 5 speedrunner trolls on a forum and Matt is traumatized.
Why must my life suffer? Why must I suffer so with no one caring for so long? This man has gone out of his way to insult me at every turn to make my life worse. I have not felt depression like I have experienced because of Rydog since I was a teenager. The thought of living in this world where a single man can cause me so much suffering and people defend his right to do it, I just don't want to live in this world anymore.
What?
Yeah, and I hate living in a world where people defend you for saying that, all React content creators will commit SA. One, the pot's calling the kettle black. 2, hypocrite. 3, if a forum post is getting to you, my guy, you got to get off the internet. You got to get some help. Go touch some grass. Go fishing. Go. Probably not hunting. Not hunting in this case. But do something constructive. Do something to build yourself up. It's the hypocrisy that gets me.
What did he do? He lied to the moderators and he removed his own speedruns, shut down a category, and doesn't turn on his FPS limit. What a bad guy. What a justified reaction. He made a 3-part video series because a speedrunner named Friendly Baron shit-talked how he ran the forum.
Frankly, I'm afraid I'll come off as petty at this point, but I literally can't fucking sleep. I need more closure.
I'm Dark Viper. I'm 5 seconds behind after 4 minutes. I'm gonna reset.
That's funny.
Dead, gonna reset like Dark Viper.
You're losing sleep over this. Bro, somebody beats him in a speedrun and he acts like it ruined his life. A guy named Unnamed beat GTA without taking damage. Viper, who was running that same category, then banned this guy from his YouTube and Twitch. Viper justified all of this by writing another brick of an essay. I have known for quite some time that other people were doing runs off this category. People that could run from dawn till dusk. People that had no reason to be entertaining, had fewer obligations, fewer distractions. Sharing information with these people is almost entirely one-sided, or at least everything I developed for the run was public knowledge. But the inverse was not true. The result was that anyone running alongside me was getting far more information. What sort of response did you expect from me? A hug? Your success does me no favors. On the contrary, it makes my life considerably worse, with the added fun that I will have to field questions about this.
Humanity, society, is a give and take relationship, and I've experienced a massive take with no give. And people seem to be confused as to why I'm not a fan of this. When I say he has made my life worse, measurably so. I was the only person who could have benefited significantly from doing this first. But not only that, failing to do this will now impact the rest of my career.
What's funny is this guy did give Viper tips on how to improve his run. Matt is always a victim. He's got ultimate victim status. Even how he talked about me is just weird.
This was just me.
I did day 1 final shape raid, and I was just tired, and the team just wasn't making progress, you know. And no shade at anybody. Honestly, it was a really tough raid. It was a blitz, especially in contest. And so yeah, making the call to like, look, let's just disband. Call it good, I think is the healthy decision for everybody, whether it seems like it was at the time or not. I mean, if you're going to do a contest, if you're going to speedrun, you're already in a competitive sphere. What, Pint from Final Fantasy XIV beat the record for Kugane Tower, and then the dude he was trying to fight the record for just logged in and did it again, which is comical to a degree. But I mean, it's like that's what you expect going in, right? I have my N64 copy of Majora's Mask right there. If I got into Majora's Mask speedrunning, right? Say I was doing like, what, Song of Soaring, wrong warp, right? It's like, what, 66 times and you're wrong warp to the moon or something like that. And I make input errors and I can't beat that time, right? That I'm signing up for that, right? When you inherently do challenge runs and stuff like that, that's the point. You try to beat the challenge, and if you beat the challenge, you're the king of that challenge until somebody can dethrone you. Like, yeah, this is just whining at this point. That is literally me being like, oh, well, I didn't finish Salvation's Edge day 1, contest mode. My team was the issue. What? Come on. No, it wasn't. It was a collective, and yeah, I was ad clearing a lot. But, I mean, there were a couple times when I only got like 13. Yeah, I was making input errors. Yeah, I was looking in the wrong direction. Yeah, it took me too long to find rooms. I had faults there, my guys. Like, yeah. Team did great, and it's a team effort. Sometimes you just know that, man, a team isn't going to work, or hey, we're probably not going to get this. It's fine to do something else with your day. Speedrunners are actually just built different. Like, this comes with the territory.
Talking to WillyMac about him calling me a fair use guy. Despite that we'd never spoken before, we did already follow each other on Twitter, so I figured why not. The reason we followed each other is because of that old adage, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Both of us think Hassan Piker is a blight on humanity and have made efforts to explain that to others.
My god, did I simply follow you on Twitter, or are we playing Game of Thrones?
In my DMs, he suggested that he hadn't even seen the video, and this was just some random tweet. And I was like, oh, okay. Then I guess I will. This is so confusing.
This is the entirety of our DMs in March. When did I say I didn't watch his video? He interprets things wrongly and then comes up with entire stories in his head and spews it to his audience.
I thought he was discrediting what I said in the video.
I was.
He hadn't seen it though, and was just talking shit on Twitter. And so I leaked DMs, deleted DMs. He put out DMs, he's deleted DMs.
I had seen your video, I don't know why he's saying this. He then acts like I was so privileged to receive a DM from him, as if he doesn't send essays to everyone.
Also, a year or two earlier, he wrote a manifesto on React content where he drew parallels to rape. It's literally all he's known for in the commentary space.
Honestly, yeah, defend that. Defend that to me, as somebody who, not only I, but has had friends and people I've known suffer that. Defend it.
I feel very much so betrayed by this dude that not only is he
there's the deflect.
Is he entirely ignorant of my work, but he just is just spreading lies. And obviously, I never drew parallels to rape. Like
my guy, you literally paralleled essay in your actual thing. He's cherry picking what he cites and doesn't from that document. He's so proud of this 14-page document, but he's not. I don't understand this, man.
The position is obviously so absurd that you would think someone with even half a brain, which I'm confident WillyMac has, would know this has to be false, but he just didn't care.
You literally did do that though, and it's what you are known for. Where is the lie?
Like, I talk to very few people. I trust so few people.
That's fine, and that's your choice at that point. If I were to say, turn chat off right now, right? And people didn't feel like they were part of this, feel like they were part of the stream, turn comments off on YouTube, feel like they weren't part of the discussion, right? I mean, that is a choice that gets made. And people are allowed to be like, if you're only consorting with a couple of people, that's fine, but I will do literally anything else with my day. Right? That is a choice. You making a choice has consequences, good, bad, and neutral, as we've gone over many times before.
To have me reach out to talk to you for any reason is a very, very strange thing.
Oh, I'm so lucky. Thank you, Viper, for sending me your essays.
He didn't even defend it.
Penis and vagina, women with dicks and weak men with vaginas.
In conclusion, Viper makes some good arguments against React content, but he's so unhinged that he makes the dialogue poison. He argues semantics.
This is Charlie's attempt to poison the well, and he hadn't seen my video. Hey guys, I'm gonna take this thing entirely out of context to present it as something that it clearly is not, in order to poison you against a 14-page meticulously written document.
Plays victim.
14 pages! As someone who has been incessantly harassed by him for years in front of thousands, he is one of those truly deserving of being driven off the internet. When I say he has made my life worse, measurably so. I was the only person who could have benefited significantly from doing this first.
And this is just a small example of him doing these things. He's so invested that he can't see anybody's point of view but his own. He hardly engages. He's the good guy, everyone else is bad, and that's how it's always been. I got a lot more videos coming out this month, so subscribe to the channel and be sure to check out Fume. Shout out to the homies over on Patreon. Phoebes, Crimson Glass, Riveter, Christina Vina, Mac Monkey, Drain Kobex, Necro Valley, Stefan Bildman, Abby Blackbird, The Confusing Opinion, Eddie Bizzle, Tiz McFitz, Christopher H, TV Anthology Reviews, Kinklemore, Sennial Music, Lucas If, ET Automatic, Fondor, Snoopy Poop Doop 2, and the Mega Homies, Reynolds Hughes, Hellison, IGP, Zombie Fox, Your Taxi, Latchkey Gothboy, Cyber Katie, Lori Loaded, Papa Gut, Caden Lulin, Luis G, Exo Irish Exo, BA Subway, Hawk and Load, Zerophonic, Derek Do, Strictly Patrick, Kitty Cat, A Screaming Cloaker, Turox, John Manfreda, and Trick.
No, I like that. That's a sub for me, Captain. Like right off the bat, I don't turn notifications on just because I don't like my inbox getting cluttered. But no, that's a sub for me right there. Honestly, Willie Mac, excellent job on this. This was very therapeutic to me just to watch as somebody who has tangentially dealt with this man on Twitter, Dark Viper, and from an objective standpoint, removing my bias from the situation. Yeah, absolutely. I feel he has some good points. I feel that the points are marred by some of the hyperbole, and in his own admission, hyperbole, some of the parallels he draws, and I think that for me just ruins it for me. And that's my big reason. I don't want to support a 14-page document, a piece that is going to be inappropriate. So I think that that's a fair and reasonable take. Now I can throw my bias into this. Man needs help. He said in his tweet at me, he wants his piece. I want you people to give me my piece. And you know what? Look, buddy, a lot of us go through really shitty pasts. A lot of us suffer events we wish we didn't. And I'm not going to make light of your situation. Like, I'm not. It's not my place to know. It's not my place to comment on. What I can say is you need to get some help. Like, this is toxic. This is dragging you down. If you continue like this, you will never find your peace. And that's not me saying that I or someone else are going to crusade it. No. You will never be able to live with yourself if you let this continue unchecked. Plain and simple. And that's life advice to everyone else out there. I looked at this and I'm like, okay, I learned things from this one. I learned things from this man. To say I didn't learn things from Dark Viper would be disingenuous. I learned what not to do. I learned when enough is enough. I learned that restraint in what you're doing is important. And sometimes you just need a break. And that introspection is important, especially from someone who clearly doesn't seem to have any. I introspect constantly. I introspect to a fault, so take that as you will. But no, absolutely, I'm glad that someone recommended me the WillyMacShow. This was amazing, excellent, and I hope that this was transformative enough because we have pretty much doubled the content at this point. I would say, right? Kind of, maybe. I don't know. Can't math right now. Thank you everyone for watching, especially if you watched the whole thing, and I hope that this exemplifies some of the struggles that I've gone through, not only in my personal life, but as a content creator as well, and that, honestly, I'm going to start posting a little less about my personal life, because I think that it's not fair to put it off on you guys, and it's an insight into, wow, Kip has lived a pretty messed up life in some aspects, but I try my best every single day, and that's what I will do. So, thank you, everybody. I do really appreciate this, and I don't encourage anyone to hate on this man. I hope that this is an educative piece to, one, find a new creator, WillyMacShow, that you can go and check out, wink wink, in the description, and two, that this is someone you can look at, you can learn lessons from, and, just understand what's being said, if that makes sense. So thank you, everyone. I really appreciate it. See you all in the next one.